Another issue with the airlines, I think, is passenger facility charges. As the federal government has, cut funding for airports, they've proposed maybe raising these fees on passengers that could go to help the capital program for the airports. I think it helped the air train, for example. Do you see any progress on that front?
Well, the current PFC has been set at $4.50 for some number of years. It generates about $220 million a year of money that is used for airport capital improvements, including, John, as you just suggested, the air train. There will be a PFC allocation in the central terminal building. I think there is concern, legitimate concern by airlines around the country that in some cases, airline operators, and certainly not the Port Authority because our airports are bursting at the seams, but that some airport operators rather around the country have kind of taken a, if we build it, they will come approach. And in some cases, the airlines have been understandably and is legitimately concerned about a, kind of a Taj Mahal approach to terminal building. We don't have the luxury of either of those given the number of passengers that are going through our airports annually, and I think no one in this room or in the region will accuse any terminal at LaGuardia, for instance, of being a Taj Mahal. I'll actually note that my colleague Tom Bosco, who runs LaGuardia, but is also, I'm proud to say, the new acting aviation director of the Port Authority, is in the back of the room. And I think there are many criticisms one could make of Port Authority facilities. Taj Mahal airport terminals is not one of them. But the airports have that legitimate concern, and I think in certain cases around the country, not here, not in this part of the nation, you could question whether airport terminal investments have always been wise, and whether if you build it, they will come approach has borne out in reality. I think the $220 million that we get out of PFCs, I think we're wise custodians of. I think there ought to be a serious debate, and it's a discussion we've had with the global folks as well as with members of the congressional delegation as to whether the PFC ought to be looked at from a level point of view. Perhaps indexing to inflation is something that some have suggested, and I think that's something that ought to be seriously looked at by policymakers.